My beloved child, before this moment drifts past like countless others, allow yourself to be still for a little while. There is something unusual about the way you arrived here. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just a quiet feeling beneath everything, as if an unseen thread has been guiding your attention toward a message you were always meant to hear. Somewhere beyond what you can currently see, a story is unfolding. A story connected to you. A story connected to someone whose heart has carried your presence far longer than you realize. There are moments in life when answers do not arrive as answers. They arrive as feelings. A sudden pause. An unexpected thought. A name that appears in your mind without invitation. A memory that refuses to fade. And tonight, something feels different, doesn't it? It is almost as if the universe has slowed down just enough for you to notice what has been there all along. Don't skip. Because this is not about chasing signs. It is not about forcing meaning into every coincidence. It is about recognizing that sometimes the most important truths reveal themselves quietly, long before anyone speaks them aloud. Imagine for a moment that someone is sitting in silence right now. Not because they have nothing to say, but because what they feel has become too significant to ignore. They thought they understood their emotions. They believed they had everything organized, everything under control. Yet recently, something shifted. A realization arrived when they least expected it. And strangely, that realization keeps leading back to you. Not to an image of you. Not to a memory of who you once were. But to the person you are becoming. That is why this moment feels different. Because while many people notice appearances, very few notice transformation. Yet transformation leaves clues. And someone has started noticing yours. Stay till the end. Something important is waiting for you. There is a hidden difference between being seen and being understood. Most people experience the first. Very few experience the second. Being seen means someone notices your presence. Being understood means someone recognizes parts of you that even you struggle to explain. What if someone has begun recognizing those hidden parts? What if they are beginning to understand the strength behind your silence? The kindness behind your patience? The resilience behind your difficult seasons? What if what they have discovered is not a secret you intentionally kept, but a truth you never realized others could see? Pause here for a moment. Feel how different that possibility is. Because so often people spend years trying to prove their worth. Yet the deepest connections are rarely built through proving. They are built through discovering. And somewhere right now, discovery is taking place. Perhaps that is why you have felt a strange pull lately. A sense that something is approaching. Not rushing. Not demanding. Simply drawing closer. Like sunrise before the first visible light appears on the horizon. You cannot fully see it yet. But you can feel it. The interesting thing about meaningful connections is that they often awaken before circumstances align. Long before conversations happen. Long before paths cross clearly. Long before certainty arrives. Something begins moving beneath the surface. Like roots growing underground before anyone notices the tree. And that hidden growth changes everything. There is a reason your journey has unfolded exactly as it has. Even the delays. Even the questions. even the moments when it felt as though nothing was happening. Because unseen growth often prepares visible change. And what is being prepared now may be far more beautiful than you expected. Don't skip. There is a detail many people miss. The strongest connections are not built upon perfection. They are built upon recognition. Recognition of character. Recognition of growth. Recognition of truth. Someone may have expected to find one version of you. Instead, they discovered something entirely different. Something deeper. Something more genuine. Something impossible to overlook. And that discovery has left a lasting impression. Not because of what you achieved. Not because of what you possess. But because of who you are when nobody is watching. That is the kind of thing that stays in someone's heart. That is the kind of thing people remember late at night when everything becomes quiet. And perhaps, without fully realizing it, that remembrance has already begun. Now listen carefully. Because there is another layer to this story. The most meaningful revelations rarely arrive all at once. They unfold piece by piece. A thought today. A realization tomorrow. A moment of clarity when least expected. And right now, it feels as though the first pieces are moving into place. You may not have the complete picture yet. You may not understand why certain feelings have appeared recently. But something within you already senses that change is approaching. A gentle change. A meaningful change. A change connected to understanding. And as this understanding grows, another truth waits quietly just beyond the edge of what can currently be seen. The surprising part is not who is discovering it. The surprising part is what they are beginning to realize. And that realization is only just beginning. A single unexpected moment can change the direction of an entire story, and what is fascinating is that most people never recognize that moment while it is happening. They only understand it later, when they look back and realize that everything began shifting there. Not with a grand announcement. Not with a dramatic event. Just a quiet realization that arrived without warning. And that is exactly where this journey continues. There is someone connected to this unfolding story who believed they had already reached a conclusion about you. They thought they understood the role you would play in their life. They believed they had placed every thought about you into a neat and comfortable place inside their mind. Yet recently, something happened that did not fit the picture they had created. It was not a conversation. It was not a message. It was not even something directly spoken. It was an awareness. A subtle awareness that kept returning no matter how hard they tried to focus elsewhere. And the more they ignored it, the stronger it became. Stay till the end. Because something important is waiting for you. You see, there is a difference between missing someone and recognizing someone's value. One comes from emotion. The other comes from understanding. Emotions can rise and fall like waves. Understanding settles deep and remains. What is happening now feels much closer to understanding. Someone has started seeing connections they previously overlooked. Moments they dismissed now seem meaningful. Conversations they barely remembered now carry a different weight. Small details they once ignored suddenly appear brighter, clearer, and more significant than before. And each realization leads them back to the same place. Back to you. Not because you demanded attention. Not because you tried to convince anyone of your importance, but because truth has a way of revealing itself naturally when the time is right. Think about the seasons of your own life. How often have answers arrived after long periods of uncertainty? How often have things made sense only after enough time had passed? Life seems to enjoy teaching through timing. And timing is playing a powerful role in this story. Don't skip. The next part matters. There are moments when a person suddenly notices how often someone appears in their thoughts. Not because they are trying to think about them. Not because they are searching for reminders. But because reminders seem to find them on their own. A familiar phrase. A certain song. A random memory. A quality they admire in someone else that unexpectedly reminds them of you. These moments seem small individually. Yet together, they create something impossible to ignore. A pattern. And patterns have a strange way of revealing truths hidden beneath everyday life. What makes this even more interesting is that the realization did not arrive all at once. It arrived gradually. Like light slowly filling a room before sunrise. At first, there was uncertainty. Then curiosity. Then reflection. And now something deeper. A growing awareness that what they once overlooked may have been far more valuable than they understood. Take a moment and imagine that. Imagine discovering that someone you thought you fully understood contains layers you never noticed. Imagine realizing that their strength was quieter than you expected. Their kindness deeper than you realized. Their resilience greater than anyone gave them credit for. Such discoveries leave an impact. They create questions. They inspire reflection. And reflection often becomes the beginning of transformation. Something important is waiting for you. Because the story does not end with realization. Realization is only the doorway. What happens after realization is where everything becomes interesting. There is a reason certain people enter our lives when they do. There is a reason some connections refuse to disappear completely. Even when distance exists. Even when circumstances change. Even when time moves forward. Some connections continue growing quietly beneath the surface. Like seeds waiting for the right season. And a season may be changing. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. But steadily. The signs of that change are becoming harder to ignore. Someone who once focused on what was missing is beginning to appreciate what was always there. Someone who once looked outward for answers is beginning to look inward. And what they are finding surprises them. Because the more honestly they reflect, the clearer one truth becomes. Your presence has affected their journey more than they ever admitted. Your influence reached places they never expected. Your energy remained longer than they imagined. And that realization continues growing. Listen carefully now. Because there is another layer still hidden beneath all of this. The most meaningful discoveries often arrive right before a new chapter begins. Not after. Before. Life has a way of preparing hearts before circumstances catch up. Preparing understanding before opportunities appear. Preparing clarity before decisions are made. And right now, preparation seems to be happening. You may not see every piece yet. You may not know exactly where this path leads. But the feeling that something is moving behind the scenes is not without reason. A new understanding is forming. A deeper truth is approaching the surface. And somewhere within that truth is a detail so unexpected, so personal, and so meaningful that when it finally becomes clear, even those closest to this story may wonder how they failed to see it sooner. And that hidden detail is beginning to reveal itself right now, but its full meaning belongs to the next part. Not every revelation arrives with noise. Some arrive in silence so deep that they almost go unnoticed at first. Yet those are often the revelations that change everything. And right now, something quiet is happening beneath the surface of this story. Something that has been building for longer than anyone realizes. There is a moment that keeps repeating itself in someone's mind. A moment they cannot fully explain. They return to it when the day becomes still. They revisit it when distractions fade. They examine it from different angles, hoping to understand why it continues to matter. At first, they believed it was nothing. Then they thought it was coincidence. Now they are no longer certain. Because every time they revisit that moment, they discover another layer they missed before. And somehow, every layer points back to you. Don't skip. The deeper part of this message is only beginning to unfold. What makes this unusual is not that someone is thinking about you. People think about each other every day. What makes this unusual is the reason. Because what they are discovering is not based on fantasy. It is not based on assumptions. It is based on recognition. Recognition of qualities that have remained hidden in plain sight. Recognition of a strength that never needed attention to exist. Recognition of a heart that continued growing even during seasons when nobody seemed to notice. That kind of recognition changes the way a person sees everything. Suddenly old memories feel different. Old conversations carry new meaning. Even simple moments appear more valuable than they once seemed. It is as if pieces of a puzzle that were scattered for a long time are beginning to connect. And when pieces connect, clarity follows. Stay till the end. Something important is waiting for you. There is another truth many people overlook. Sometimes the most remarkable thing about a person is not what they show the world. It is what they continue becoming when nobody is watching. While others chase attention, some people quietly develop wisdom. While others focus on appearances, some people focus on growth. And growth has a way of revealing itself eventually. No matter how long it remains unseen. No matter how quietly it develops. Eventually it becomes impossible to ignore. That may explain why certain perceptions are changing now. Someone expected to find one version of you. Instead, they are discovering a version they never fully understood. A version shaped by patience. A version strengthened through experience. A version carrying far more depth than they imagined. And every new realization creates another question inside them. How did they miss this before? How did they overlook something so meaningful? How did they fail to recognize what was quietly present all along? Those questions matter more than you think. Because questions often appear before important decisions. And important decisions rarely happen without reflection. Right now, reflection is growing. Not rushing. Not forcing. Simply expanding. Like ripples moving across still water. One realization creates another. One insight leads to the next. And slowly, the picture becomes clearer. Pause for a moment. Think about all the times life surprised you. All the times an answer appeared where you least expected it. All the times something ordinary revealed something extraordinary beneath it. This feels similar. Because what is being uncovered is not a dramatic secret. It is something much more powerful. Truth. The kind of truth that does not need to compete for attention. The kind of truth that stands quietly until people are finally ready to see it. And someone is beginning to see it now. Don't skip. This next part carries a deeper meaning. There are connections that survive because people hold on to them. And there are connections that survive because they contain something real. The second kind is different. It remains present even during distance. It remains present even during silence. It remains present even when life moves in unexpected directions. Because authenticity leaves an imprint. And authentic connections rarely disappear completely. Instead, they wait. Not waiting in a passive way. Waiting in a growing way. Developing beneath the surface. Gathering understanding. Gathering perspective. Gathering meaning. Until eventually a moment arrives when everything starts making sense. That moment may be closer than it appears. Because someone has entered a season of clarity. A season where assumptions are falling away. A season where deeper truths are becoming visible. A season where they can no longer ignore what their heart has been quietly showing them. And what their heart is showing them has become impossible to dismiss. Not because it arrived suddenly. But because it has been there consistently. Steadily. Patiently. Waiting to be recognized. Something important is waiting for you. Because the story is about to move into a completely different layer. Until now, the focus has been on what someone is discovering. But soon another question will emerge. A question far more significant. What happens when discovery becomes understanding? What happens when understanding becomes certainty? And what happens when certainty inspires action? That answer has not fully appeared yet. But the first signs are already forming. The first pieces are already moving into place. And hidden within those pieces is a realization so unexpected that it may explain why you have felt this unusual pull toward this message from the very beginning. The truth is closer now than it has ever been. And in the next part, the reason behind that growing clarity will finally begin to reveal itself. A strange thing happens when a person stops running from what they feel. The noise begins to fade. The confusion starts losing its power. And beneath everything that once seemed complicated, a simple truth slowly rises to the surface. That is where this story is now. Not at the beginning. Not yet at the conclusion. But at the moment where hidden understanding begins finding its voice. There is someone who has spent more time reflecting than anyone realizes. From the outside, everything may have appeared ordinary. Days continued. Responsibilities remained. Life moved forward as it always does. Yet beneath those ordinary moments, something important was taking shape. A question. Then another question. Then a realization that refused to disappear. And every path of reflection somehow circled back to the same place. Back to the thought of you. Don't skip. Because this next layer changes the feeling of everything that came before. You see, recognition is powerful. But recognition alone does not transform a person. What transforms a person is understanding why something matters. That is the stage unfolding now. Someone is no longer asking whether your presence was meaningful. They are beginning to understand why it was meaningful. And that difference is enormous. Because when people understand why something matters, they stop treating it as coincidence. They stop dismissing it. They stop explaining it away. Instead, they begin paying attention. And attention has been growing. Not dramatically. Not suddenly. But consistently. Like a light becoming brighter one small degree at a time. Stay till the end. Something important is waiting for you. There are moments in life when a person realizes they have been searching for something without knowing its name. Perhaps they searched through achievements. Perhaps they searched through distractions. Perhaps they searched through endless plans for the future. Only to discover that what they were truly looking for felt surprisingly familiar. Not because it was new, but because it had quietly touched their life before. That realization can be deeply humbling. Because it forces a person to see things differently. It forces them to reconsider what they thought they knew. And right now, reconsideration is becoming impossible to avoid. Someone is looking at the past through new eyes. Moments once forgotten now stand out clearly. Small interactions seem larger than before. Simple exchanges feel richer with meaning. What once appeared ordinary now appears extraordinary. Not because the memories changed. Because understanding changed. And understanding has a way of illuminating details that were always there. Pause here for a moment. There may have been times when you wondered whether your efforts mattered. Whether your growth was noticed. Whether the quiet work you did on yourself carried any significance beyond your own journey. Those questions are natural. Many people carry them. Yet the interesting thing about genuine growth is that it often creates an impact long before anyone talks about it. People notice courage. People notice kindness. People notice authenticity. Even when they never say a word. And eventually, what has been noticed begins demanding recognition. That may be exactly what is happening now. Because something inside this story is reaching a turning point. Not a dramatic turning point. A meaningful one. The kind that changes perspective forever. Don't skip. The next truth may resonate more deeply than you expect. There is a difference between admiration and appreciation. Admiration often focuses on what stands out. Appreciation focuses on what remains. Admiration notices moments. Appreciation notices character. And character is what lasts. Someone is beginning to appreciate qualities they once overlooked. The way you continue moving forward. The way you carry yourself through uncertainty. The way you maintain hope without demanding guarantees. These things matter more than most people realize. Because they reveal who a person truly is. And who you truly are has become increasingly difficult to ignore. The realization is arriving gradually. Almost like pieces of a message appearing one line at a time. Every day brings another clue. Another insight. Another reason to look deeper. And the deeper someone looks, the more remarkable the picture becomes. Something important is waiting for you. Because the story is approaching a threshold. Until now, the focus has been on recognition and understanding. But another stage is beginning to emerge. A stage that changes everything. The stage where understanding becomes impossible to keep hidden. When a realization grows strong enough, it starts influencing choices. It starts influencing actions. It starts influencing the direction a person wishes to move. That moment has not fully arrived yet. But its presence can already be felt. Like distant music before the melody becomes clear. Like the first hint of dawn before the sky changes color. Something is preparing itself. Something meaningful. Something connected to a truth that has taken longer to uncover than anyone expected. And hidden inside that truth is a realization so personal, so unexpectedly beautiful, that once it fully emerges, many pieces of this journey will suddenly make sense. The signs are already appearing. The understanding is already deepening. And in the next part, the reason those signs have become impossible to ignore will finally begin stepping into the light. Sometimes the most important shift happens long before anyone says a single word. It happens in the quiet space between thoughts. It happens when a person can no longer pretend that what they feel is temporary. It happens when every attempt to move past something only leads them back to it with greater clarity than before. And that is exactly where this story is beginning to change. There is a feeling growing beneath the surface now. Not rushing. Not demanding attention. Simply becoming stronger. Like a river that has been flowing quietly underground for a very long time and is finally approaching the place where it will meet the light. Someone has reached a point where certain truths no longer feel distant. They no longer feel uncertain. They no longer feel like questions waiting for answers. Instead, they feel like answers that have been waiting for acceptance. And acceptance changes everything. Don't skip. Because something important is waiting for you. There was a time when it was easy to overlook what mattered most. Life was busy. Distractions were everywhere. Responsibilities filled every corner of the day. Yet truth has a remarkable way of remaining present. Even when ignored. Even when postponed. Even when buried beneath countless other concerns. It waits. Patiently. Quietly. Steadily. And when the right moment arrives, it begins revealing itself piece by piece. That moment feels closer now than ever before. The reason is simple. Someone has started seeing beyond appearances. Beyond assumptions. Beyond old expectations. They are beginning to recognize the difference between what merely catches attention and what genuinely touches the heart. Those are not the same thing. Many things capture attention for a moment. Very few leave a lasting imprint. And lasting imprints are difficult to forget. Stay till the end. The deeper meaning is only now beginning to appear. Think about how often people search for certainty. They search for signs. They search for guarantees. They search for proof that what they feel is real. Yet certainty rarely arrives in a dramatic flash. Most of the time, it arrives through repetition. The same thought returning again and again. The same feeling remaining present despite time. The same person appearing in the mind during unexpected moments. Not because they are being forced there, but because their presence has become meaningful. Someone may have reached that realization. They may have noticed how often your memory appears during quiet moments. How naturally their thoughts drift toward you when the world becomes still. How certain qualities remind them of you even when they least expect it. And every time it happens, the understanding becomes stronger. Not weaker. Stronger. Because genuine realization grows through consistency. And consistency has become impossible to ignore. Pause here. There is something beautiful about being appreciated for who you truly are. Not for an image. Not for a role. Not for an expectation. But for the qualities that remain when everything else falls away. Your patience. Your growth. Your resilience. Your ability to keep moving forward despite uncertainty. These qualities create a quiet kind of influence. The kind that often goes unnoticed at first. But once noticed, becomes unforgettable. That may explain why this story feels different now. Because someone is no longer seeing fragments. They are beginning to see the whole picture. And the whole picture carries more meaning than they expected. Don't skip. This next realization matters. There are moments when a person suddenly understands that what they have been looking for was never as far away as they imagined. It was simply hidden beneath layers of distraction. Layers of timing. Layers of misunderstanding. Once those layers begin falling away, clarity arrives. And clarity has begun arriving. Slowly. Gently. But unmistakably. The confusion that once existed is becoming smaller. The uncertainty is losing its hold. The picture is becoming sharper. And as it becomes sharper, one truth keeps standing out. Your presence has left a deeper impact than anyone anticipated. Not because you demanded recognition. But because authenticity always leaves traces. Real kindness leaves traces. Real connection leaves traces. Real growth leaves traces. And eventually those traces become impossible to overlook. Something important is waiting for you. Because the story is approaching a moment of profound understanding. Not the final moment. But the moment before the final pieces begin moving into place. Someone is starting to realize that certain connections are not remembered because of circumstance. They are remembered because they awaken something meaningful inside the heart. And once that awakening happens, everything changes. Old perspectives begin shifting. Old assumptions begin dissolving. Old limitations begin losing their influence. What remains is something far more honest. Far more real. Far more powerful. The remarkable part is that this realization has not fully reached its destination yet. It is still unfolding. Still growing. Still revealing new layers every day. And hidden within those layers is a discovery so personal, so unexpectedly significant, that it may explain why your path led you here at this exact moment. Because the truth someone is uncovering is no longer about what they once believed. It is about what they can no longer deny. And in the next part, that growing certainty will begin revealing why everything has been leading toward this point all along.